you do want to make it, even if it's not the meta, you got to try something like
hey,
that.
LeBlanc enjoyers.
Well, that could be an answer as well. I think that there is definitely an opening in that mid jungle, but if the series continues going as it's gone so far, it will just be blue side wins all the way down, Velvet. We'll see if that's going to be the case here as well.
Yeah, we'll see if it works out. Sejuani, same bans here from Game 2 so far, which is, you know, same sides for the teams that were in Game 2. Let's see if it does continue. We had Jin here and then Rumble. So Jin.
Rumble.
Rumble.
Big Ziggs.
Please Rumble. As you mentioned before, I think we've seen enough of the Rumble to know why it's perma-banned.
Ziggs. Corki Maokai. Yeah, okay.
Ziggs. Okay.
Corki Maokai. Maybe Tristana Maokai if we're feeling crazy.
Oh.
Oh.
Maokai's bad now.
Wing and a miss.
MF comes through here. And this is what T1 did play into Ziggs in Game 1. In Italy. A lot more fun than Maokai. But is not Maokai. Tristana, Ziggs, Maokai, very strong. Exactly what we saw. Well, actually, not exactly what we saw. It was Ivern, actually, in Game 2. This time it's Maokai. But now the Lilia will be brought in here by Oner.
It's going to come through. Solid in the Maokai can outpace him. Also has a incredible amount of power with BMF. Really good setup for those fights. And now no top lane this time around picked on either side. Most likely there's obviously still some crazy flex potential, but I think that's what we're going to see. And I imagine T1 is just going to pick Alistar or Rel here on R4 and then give counter pick over to Zeus. Maybe you ban Cassante as well, like Jax Cassante. Maybe Renekton. I know Renekton hasn't really been high priority in the series, but it does feel like one of those picks where at least you can make your way through most matchups.
Yeah.
You do get ahead, you can snowball quite nicely.
Gnar.
So maybe they were either thinking that they're just going to R4 Leona or Rel, and then they want to take away the Gnar. Also, T1 could very well just pick the Gnar themselves as a blind pick if they do want to give Keria a little bit more agency.
Yeah. But that is now banned, so no chance of that. Let's see what this final ban will be. A lot of focus in on the top lane. Will we see yet another top lane ban to be dug into? Or do they try to target the Leona? There is the Leona. So still a lot of stuff left open in the bottom lane. Nautilus.
I thought it was going to be Rel. It's going to be Nautilus instead. Bit more snappy on the engaging guaranteed, obviously, is the big thing.
Yeah, and we already saw Mohan play it. He died a lot, but he looked pretty comfortable on it, so...
So we Braum Cassante?
Braum doesn't exist in this series.
Renata Cassante?
Mohan was brought in here
like also,
for one reason, to engage.
Also, Renata and Ziggs sounds pretty miserable. I just really like Renata into... As King is just like, hey, am I doing it? Yeah! Another game of Cassante. To be fair, Showmaker did have a really good Tristana game last time around, so I don't think it should come as too much of a surprise. I really wish it would have come Braum, but nope, as you're saying...
Engage.
Engage.
Smart. Let's see what this final pick is here for the side of... Ooh, Zeus pulling out the Gwen for game number 4. And,
whenever Kingen makes that face, you know he's about to have a really bad time. That's the face he made when they got Nasus.
Generally not
he got
happy
Nasus.
laughs.
No.
Which is weird to say.
If you missed the game, he got dove, what, like 4 times?
Yeah, and he looked exactly like that. And Zeus is a player that can actually utilize R5 counter pick and can potentially carry games. And you were talking about triple threat comps. This is kind of like a... It feels like a triple threat comp. Maybe it's like 3.5? We've got a Lilia in there.
I think it's 4.
Mostly for setup.
Lilia's quite spooky. I don't know, Veldas. Based on draft, I like what DK have. I think there's a lot of power in this draft. You have really solid front to back. A lot of team fighting. But in modern League of Legends, so much of your ability to team fight is only how well can you team fight so that you can then get an objective. And that part, I haven't quite figured out. In game number 2, they got the fight and then ended the game. Maybe that's what they're looking for here.
Yeah. Tristana and Ziggs, an incredibly powerful duo in terms of the carries. They get it again alongside a Maokai, which they do opt into taking as it was left up this time. Let's see, though, as we have the Gwen, big focus here for the side of T1. Can Zeus get some work done in the top lane? It definitely remains to be seen. Let's hop into the Rift for game number 4.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Off we go, game number 4. T1 on the doorstep of making it into Worlds. Hasn't been their most dominant summer season by any means. Definitely some struggles, some big hiccups, but could still potentially make it right here, right now, unless DK have something to say about it.
We'll be able to get this early award, placed by Showmaker. Lane swap coming through. Do like this. As mentioned, lane swap with the Ziggs always feels kind of free. Triple TP for DK, only 2 TPs for T1 here. Gumayusi did feel forced to go for the cleanse. It's a Maokai ult that is always going to feel pretty nicely, as we do have the invade. And no opportunity here for Lucid to get a little bit of a steal off, as lane swap is going to be red as soon as Moham shows here on the mid wave. This is love to see if Oner can actually find an opportunity. Could maybe go like for an early attempt at getting the Raptors, like do a bot side clear and then try and look. We'll see if that's going to be enough. There's some early damage going in to both Faker and Moham here. Moham definitely taking the worst end of that trade.
Yeah, for sure. Ignite is used by Keria. Help push that little advantage and push Moham out of the lane, who is going to back here at level 1. Keria going for a little scout. And is trying to take the... He's going to smite it at 87 health. And now with Faker coming up, Lucid's in a bit of trouble, as it'll take a extremely long amount of time for Keria to actually get the kill, but he's significantly delaying the clear of Lucid as well.
And this is snowball from what happened earlier, right? Moham getting a really bad trade. This is probably going to mean that Oner is going to be able to just clear to his heart's content. Now Showmaker is benefiting from the fact that Keria did dip, and Showmaker was not sharing XP for nearly as long. So did get the early level up. Guma has been fine in a bit of a wonky situation with this lane swap. Biggest winner definitely going to be Oner, who now will be able to get the good old triple buff and basically get free quadrants of his, or of the jungle rather.
Yeah, the entirely, the all-inclusive entire jungle. Another hook comes in here from Keria. It was a quote from Keria in one of his interviews that he doesn't want to play all the weird stuff. He would just like to play Nautilus every game. And, well, he gets to play Nautilus in this game at least. Nautilus is not very meta at the moment, but you see him every once in a while. But it was funny that even with all of the bans going towards the top lane outside of Leona, we still got to see him prioritized here by Keria.
Nautilus will just always remain, like, at least somewhat viable just because of the way his kit works. The amount of CC you have between your hook, your auto-attack passive, and then the ultimate is kind of insane, as this is actually a pretty big deal. Lucid really wants this. And Moham is here, but they're down a member, and I don't think they can really do anything.
Yeah, another hook gonna come in here on a Showmaker. Doesn't quite buff for that, and then he jumps away, and Oner got all the Raptors. Got the smite down as well. Not gonna hit that bowling ball, but yeah. You were calling for Oner to play Lilia in game number 1. So, not too surprising that he eventually does pull it out here. I was just wondering when it was going to happen.
Yeah, but again, and this is something we see pretty often, right? Is King definitely going to have to eat some cookies. As we often see, these early laning trades can make such a big difference in how the game plays out. Because if Moam doesn't take that trade and he's just there, Keria can't then go and invade his own jungle. But obviously, because the lane swap, it's basically the opponent's jungle. And bully the way that he did doesn't look like King actually did eat any of these cookies. So still is plenty. Has his TP available as well, and should be able to use it here. Zeus did use his earlier on to get back to the lane. As Lucid on what, level 4 here. And the Lilia, this is not going to get better. Once you finish your first item, you are going to be able to heavily outpace your opponent.
Yeah. And Oner just fantastic at getting ahead in these matchups, but also at setting up some of the team fights as well. So definitely feels like it's in the right hands, and T1 should be very happy with the way this early game has played out. We'll see, where the grubs go. As Mom, level 3, on vision, and Keria's here. So now he's going to flash away. Keria tries to flash in and deny the jump over the wall. Will not be able to do that. But Moham really flirting with danger here in this game. And now a little engage from Showmaker. Bunch of damage goes in on Oner, and he doesn't need to get the kill just to deny him access to the grub pit.
Yeah, actually a big deal. Because I imagine Lucid would have always gotten the 1 and then maybe would have had to dip after that. But you probably... If you're Lucid, make the read that Showmaker's helping out. Showmaker, very aggressive play, but ends up working out quite nicely as Aiming did just use the package aggressively. And
the satchel.
Oh, sorry, the satchel, yeah.
But yes.
Yeah, Corky obviously doesn't have his package anymore. But that's because of using the satchel to harass.
Yep.
Because otherwise,
all of that.
Ult. And DK, okay, Showmaker.
Oh, trying to get in behind, and Showmaker, the auto's gonna get him! And Faker eventually does go down. Here's Oner, though. Might be able to do a number here to Lucid, honestly, but he's not gonna push his luck. But still, first blood does go to Faker. As Showmaker, not the first time he's tried to pull off a play like that. And he doesn't quite work out for him. Had Lucid nearby, and so thought he'd just be able to make it work.
Early plays here, definitely favoring T1. Haven't looked at top in a while, as Moam does actually crucially get the Q on the Guma, so there isn't that much damage follow-up. So ends up working out nicely. King also is going to get a good amount of value of buying some MR here towards the top half of the map. As we take another look at this play, Showmaker ends up still taking a good amount of damage there from that Valkyrie. And ends up going down. I imagine was trying to flash, but he wouldn't take damage from the E.
Yeah.
As
yeah, pulled over the wall here. The Gwen in a bit of trouble, does get rooted up, and now looking for a little bit more. But not quite going to have anything else happen, but they do get that pick onto Zeus.
So the downside is that all this gold is going into Lucid, who is going to be an extremely low resource Maokai. Does kind of help with the fact that obviously his jungle farm is already is and is not gonna get better in terms of gold advantage that Oner is gonna be able to generate. But if that goes to Showmaker, you're gonna be feeling a lot better about some of these plays. Nicely done there though, good turn by King, and always something that I feel like we've gotten a lot better at playing around Cassante, but every now and then he still gets you.
Yeah.
This initially looks like Kingen doesn't find the Q free. Yep. It's very straightforward. Aiming also going for the TP, which doesn't end up being necessary, but could have, of course, maybe made the read that there was going to be more of a fight and Oner was going to commit further. Very straightforward there from Kingen. And nicely done. Turns that situation on its head.
Yeah, this is kind of funny because Zeus, he's like, oh, I'm safe now. And then he dashes back in just to get immediately Cassante'd in the face. Yeah, could have played it smarter. Does get punished for that play.
It is hard, to be fair, to actually get the ultimate of Lily Alpha on Oner, because there's such a clear wind-up, right? So we can R, then gets a W reset, but Still wouldn't be that bad, as we're just throwing out hooks and throwing out Qs, and it's going to wistfully miss each other.
Keria trying to show Moham how it's done. You know, Moham, they just need somebody to make plays, to make stuff happen. I like that they do go back to extreme comfort for him on the rel. I think the rel makes sense in this composition as well. So they just need someone to be reliable and to get good engages off and to really pull the trigger so the rest of the team can kind of fall in line behind him. Yeah, especially after game number 3, which had not very much of that. Here comes Moham, by the way. Level 6 now, but it's going to be scouted out by Keria, who is unsure.
Are they still going to go for this?
Oh, Satchel comes on in, denies the ult. This wave's still here. The Maokai ultimate as well on top of it. Moham over the top, grabs 2, but he might go down to the turret. Does get traded back, and now it's just a 1-for-1, and Lucid getting extremely low. And nearly does go down himself, but he's very fed. Meanwhile,
not going to be feeling too great about that, funnily enough, if you're DK. Like, yes, you get the kill, but this is just Zeus now completely unchecked. Going to be able to get this... I don't know if he gets the top side turret, but at least gets a bunch of plates. Yeah, down to 2 plates now, plus a good amount of these minions into the tower. And then also, because you're playing towards bot side, you're going to give up the grubs, and particularly with Tristana and the Ziggs, really want to try and stack those. Now, if they are able to get the plates for aiming, and they end up being able to punish the Flash and Cleanse combo, which they might very well be able to do now. Nope, never mind.
No, just kidding. We're still doing that. I mean, in this case, it does make sense. Guma does get pretty low, but we'll take another look here at the dive.
So, Satchel was solid. I think the problem is just there's just not that much damage. The ult also goes completely wide. I think aiming definitely could have held onto that. You have a lot of setup. And then Moham with the ignite ends up going down, even with it just being the turret doing the damage. And that could have been a lot cleaner. Like, if you get 2 kills there on the turret, if Moham doesn't end up going down, but instead this ends up being a pretty rough trade for DK.
Yeah. Aiming very good at using his abilities pretty freely, farming out waves and you know, getting a bunch of gold. But I feel like sometimes it leaks into some of his team fighting, where he's just like, I gotta use everything all at once as fast as possible and just throw it in and do my job as a damage dealer. And as you were saying in that fight, I think if you hold the ult, you're probably gonna get some more consistent overlaying damage.
If it's you and Tristana whiffing an ultimate like that is fine, but you know, it's Rel and all Maokai and Cassante.
Especially with Maokai, it's like, well, he
someone will hit.
You know, that's the way the champ works. So, yeah, it's fine. But not the cleanest dive, and T1's still feeling very happy. I think the grubs you mentioned also very important in this one, as DK will not be able to hit that 4 benchmark.
Oh, I'm going to take some drive-by damage there. The explosive shot goes off. Do see Kingen, as expected, going very heavily into the MR.
Does aiming build Morel and Almacan again? There's a Gwen on the team this time.
Well, maybe.
And still MF with BT.
Maybe.
Do we run it back?
Oh, I love this.
Speaking of running it back, Guma is literally running it back.
Oh, he had a
into the lane. Yeah. He just farms out the whole wave. Does have to ult, as Keria going to deny the crash down. Now he's throwing an ult into Lucid. Thinking about setting up a fight here, but Lucid is Maokai, so throws out the Nature's Grasp and does say no to that. Trying to get in onto Showmaker, but he is Tristana, and he's just going to walk it off.
A lot of disengaging power here, Veldas. On either side. Well, on T1 side, it's mostly just running away. DK side is pretty obvious, and unfortunately for Kingen, this is one of those situations where the matchup doesn't really get better. I think into Rumble, you do eventually reach a point where, like, he can get for you, but it takes a lot of time. Gwen, with her Q sweet spot and her ultimate, really does just kind of make you feel like paper, which is not something you want to do. Does have Koenig Rooker now, though.
Oh, I get it, because she's scissors, right?
Yeah, that's
really funny.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but thank you, Veldas.
I did like it, actually. It wasn't one of the laugh out loud moments, but it was very enjoyable as a joke.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But yeah, I mean, it's true. I think that Kingen has oftentimes kind of just been the guy who's like, okay, well, you're just going to sit there in top lane and try not to die. And it's not very fun, and it can be very grating on you as a player.
That's fine.
Try to deal with that.
We've seen him laugh after getting dove like 4 times as Nasus. He's a top laner, through and through. Well, I do wish, and this is more of a DK in general thing, but again, that proactivity is there as...
Wow, Oner really trying to set this up. He is going to eat a bit of the damage. The saving is getting low. The smite also coming in, and they're going to get the TP out of Showmaker, but Oner might not be long for this one, as down he goes. Showmaker with the drive-by once again. And he does use his TP to get it, but picks up the kill.
Actually, so nicely done as well, because I do think they actually have an opportunity to kill him if Gwen gets to use his passive, or use her passive as well as the ultimate. Not going to be the case. It's going to be, I think, still a good enough trade, but DK should be able to get the turret in mid here as a trade. So first turret body is going to go to T1, but now especially, yeah, exactly. Especially with the Ziggs available, this is 100% going to go down. Might even look for a second one.
Yeah, you can deny the crap. Okay, never mind. If he just autoed again and satcheled, it wouldn't have mattered. But down will go Moham here in the bottom lane. Not sure exactly how that happens.
Yeah, I think he was reinforcements for Showmaker, but then the reinforcements were not enough. It's Kingen. Sees this TP, but not going to be too friendly. Kill did go over to, I think it was Keria there? Was a Faker, not 100% sure, but didn't go over to Gwen. That would obviously have been a best case scenario. Now, Dragon, again, very low pace on the Dragons. We are back to game 1 and 2, where it's Cloud and Ocean. As we take a look at this, Oner really trying to force this play, but Ziggs has a lot of damage, as we can see, even with the sweet spot, not quite enough. And then Ziggs making sure that he's safe. And then Showmaker actually doing a really good job here with the aggressive flash to make sure that his vision in the brush actually gets the autos off. And then we take another look here, and okay, very straightforward. Try to look for a collapse into Zeus, and then the TP comes in, and Faker ends up picking this one up with the, I think the rocket it was, with the splash damage. And now the Corki getting slowly more fed. Corki has still not won a game in the series, by the way. We'll see if that changes, as now 2 turrets to 1. But Showmaker should be able to equalize that fairly quickly. Imagine if he had 6 grubs.
Yeah, it would feel pretty good. One thing that DK does have is a couple of Drakes. I don't think they got it like once in game 2, I think. Right, they got the second mountain and then they eventually won the game. But now it's going to be them starting off with the first 2 Drakes, and it's Infernal Soul. So
it really helps with the fact that you're a 2-carry team, right?
Yeah.
And not only does it make your carries feel a lot more threatening, but it also means that champions like K'Sante can actually, with that Infernal Soul proc, have enough damage to carry team fights, even if you do miss out. And that's one of the things that I do really wonder about with T1, is how does the late game actually play out? Because I think they're really good at finding someone and blowing them up, right? A lot of damage available here, so you can even hook frontline and just chew through them. Or getting a big sleep. Outside of that, though, it does feel like this composition might be hard to execute into again, and I keep saying this, but in theory, a composition with K'Sante and Maokai should really be able to 5v5 very well. It's just that that hasn't been happening a lot. Lucid is going to get slowed down. Takes a little bit of damage. Still has Locket, so I don't think he was too worried there.
And you mentioned it before, I mean, T1 has so many threats on their side that, especially from ahead.
There's no turret Showmaker. Moham's there.
And if they could stack some Drakes, ooh, you see Faker trying to pretend like he's in a rough spot just to bait Moham a little bit closer. Nearly hits with the hook, as bit of Ziggs damage over the top. Now we're trying to get a fight on in, but Lucid going very close to the sun. The knockup comes in, and the MF ult gets it done. As Keria will be able to walk this one off, but T1, they bait them into a fight once again, and they come out ahead once again.
I'm pretty sure that Gwen wasn't seen yet when that happened, so thought that they maybe had a numbers advantage. Does kind of answer our questions as to why DK somewhat seems hesitant to do stuff. As this is something we haven't seen in this series just yet, which is Lucid trying to be the one to engage, but ends up backfiring pretty heavily there.
It just felt like the call was, even from the beginning, from aiming's damage, it was like, okay, they're...
I want to go in.
Yeah, they're caught out. We're trying to get an engage here. And it was, you know, as we had all the vision, it was just obviously not a very good idea. Showmaker trying to chip away at this one, has some help, and Moham goes over the wall. So down will go the turret. DK finally get in there and take that objective down. Who's going to deal with the Gwen?
No one. No, that's the neat thing.
Well,
maybe with 2 people, that should be enough. She's very speedy, though.
Yeah. Showmaker could hop in. We do have Lucid coming up here as well. And Oner around, and the second Oner, and the TP comes in. You see that Oner's trying to set this one up, has the potential to sleep 2 down, but Faker's going to be taken out first. And now the front line of only Gwen. Not going to be able to do too much. He is trying to trade here on the King-In, but there are 4 members of DK who eventually do punish. As now the turn comes in from T1. They catch out Lucid, who just goes in alone, but now it's just a bait as Moham gets 3 on the engage. And they're able to trade the support back at least. No dragon just yet. We're just fighting fisticuffs in the bottom lane.
Everyone's fighting. We're fighting for cooldowns, Valdez. So let's take a look. We have, what, 2 TPs used? As we go back to this, I just don't think they have the damage at this point in time. And I do actually think that the play wouldn't have, like, Gwen being there doesn't actually matter, right? It's just an attempt at hard force. And then this is where the summoner advantage actually ends up being huge, because now all of a sudden it's a 3v3, but then with that TP coming in, it just isn't enough. King-In also gets the W on the sleep. And then in the end, ends up being, what, like a 3-for-2 trade, as they do actually get Zeus. This is actually really cute here from T1, and they are lucky that there isn't more of a follow-up here as Moham gets that Freeman Magnet Storm, crash down Magnet Storm, otherwise it could have been quite rough. But there's no Dragon. There's not really a whole lot that gets taken as a result, so when looking, who actually have their summoners available still? And no flash on Showmaker, obviously no flash on Moham. And a lot of TPs used by DK, so their silent pressure is going to be worse. What if the solution to the Baron problem is just have Showmaker solo it? That's Soul Point for Infernal Soul, Velda.
Yeah.
Wait, now DK is just going to get it for free?
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. Okay.
They're learning! They're learning in front of our eyes, Velvet!
Just take the Dragon, and T1 won't do anything about it, and they won't be able to take the Baron because the rest of the team is not doing the Dragon. And Tristana very good at doing that. So you could just do it again, potentially, in 5 minutes, depending on how T1 handled the situation at that time.
I don't know what my takeaway is from this whole
series.
Series. This whole sequence of events.
Does the winner of this best of 5 go to quarterfinals?
Well, this is the thing. Like, I don't think that the performance of these teams right now is going to be indicative of where they're going to be at Worlds.
Yeah,
it'll be a different meta. It'll be a very different scenario.
And teams
but
prep
also
entirely differently for Worlds and stuff. They have a lot of time. And
yeah, we need to be fair. Obviously, it's always going to be like, oh, but what about DRX was, by all accounts, an insane outlier, right? Which is why it's generally considered to be the best Worlds one ever, for many other reasons, narratively as well, but just in terms of the fact that DRX was able to get it together. So I don't really want to put my eggs in the, it's fine, they'll be solid at Worlds basket. I really don't know what the takeaways are. I think both teams are very clearly going through a lot of stuff right now. And what's most interesting to me is that mechanically, like, I think decision-making, these are a lot of issues we've seen for both these two teams, but mechanically, like Showmaker not hitting a flash over the wall, some re-engages that were done by T1, kind of make you wonder as, oh my god.
they're just gonna start it. Wait,
Veldes.
There's no vision.
Veldes.
Yeah?
Veldes!
Yes?
They're doing it! They're doing it, Veldes!
Oh, they're doing it! T1 has no idea, but now they have an inkling.
It's gone.
And they can't get in here on time. It's snuck away, smited at exactly 1200. And T1 are like, oh, well, I guess they can do that too, huh?
I never thought I was gonna see the day VODS. They did it!
They did make a very good Baron call after clearing out all the vision.
Didn't even need to use Maokai. This is also FYI, why teams like Gen.G and Hanwha are not allowed to have Maokai.
Yeah.
Because they do this, but then better and quicker, and,
yeah.
and they actually... Oh man, alright, cool. Immediate TP towards top side to try and get as much out of this as possible. The one downside is that I do think DK, outside of Showmaker, like the 1-3-1 isn't really looking too odd. You can mostly go 1-4 with ideally Tristan and sideline. Showmaker is still very big and should be able to... I think he might even have the burst to deal with Zeus. I think that gets a little bit dicey. That is definitely riskier. Obviously would completely blow up the Corki given the 2-level lead, given the fact that he's sitting on an IE already. But we're gonna have to see how much DK actually gets with this, because before we get too excited, we are currently 1 minute into the Red Bull Baron power play, and it's 1,000 gold.
Yeah, you remember T1 was getting Barons and nothing was happening as well.
Yeah, I do remember.
So
it happened recently.
Both the teams definitely aren't it doesn't feel like everything's happening according to plan 100% of the time.
You just don't want to go to that next match. You don't want to go to the second best of 5 against BNK or KT.
No.
You want to stay as far away from that as you can. That's where Hanwha Life-esque runs are born.
Yeah, it's true.
That's where DRX their run was born.
King a bit alone here.
There is a TP available for Showmaker, but none for aiming.
Trying to collapse here on a Kingen who is not yet level 16 as he'll deny the hook, but that is a Nautilus. He's got more where that's coming from, as now in goes the Gwen, and the MF damage is finally, he will be taken down. Gonna just kind of get that last shot. The rest of DK, everyone backed. Every single person backed to try to get to bot lane and save him, and nobody got bot lane and saved him.
VODS, get that negativity out. Oh, the collapse.
Oh.
They're a member up.
Oh no.
They did use 2 ultimates here. I don't know if that's enough.
Yeah, the flanking teleport from Faker as now the engage comes in from Moham. He presses his buttons, but it's Showmaker hooked at him midair by the side of Keria. He's in a lot of trouble. Guma just flashes in onto him. So now it's all up to aiming to get the damage done, as Lucid will be able to frontline. And you're not letting this Gwen out of here. And T1.
No, I think they get out.
Okay, they're gonna get out, but this dragon spawning in 10 seconds.
Hey, 600 gold Red Bull Baron power play, VODS. Oh, and now the reverse.
Okay, which reverse are we on? I lost track. Oh, there's a double up there on a Lucid. Some extra damage.
I think he should have Warmogs at this point. Yeah, it does look... Oh, does he? Yeah. Does have it now. Faker's on his way, but so is Moham.
Is it just a flip?
It's a flip.
Oh no, they're gonna turn on to Lucid. Bunch of damage, bunch into Oner too, but he lives! And they can't take him out, and he flashes out of the Mega Bomb from the Ziggs. It's just the Infernal taken away by T1. Super clean. Nothing to see here.
Did we? Okay, so it's fine. T1 did deny the soul point. That's what matters. As we take another look here. Initially, looks like Kingen might be able to reunite with his team. And this is one of those scenarios where you're saying, VODS, if they're on the map, if they're in mid lane, they just get at least a turret. They have Baron buff when this is happening. But Gwen in particular just shreds through tanks, even with the MR being bought. And then, crucially, look at that ward. That ward not being spotted ends up being huge, because otherwise, I don't know if they really go for this play. The flanking Corki is definitely a bit of a crazy one, but the cancel on the hook, aiming's ults, not finding the target, means that it looks like the fight should be a complete blowout. And we take another look at the fight here.
I think you're saying to keep Maokai out of the pit. I lived. And, well, everything said kind of came true. He picks up the Drake, and he is a real threat in this game. Has an arm guard, 2 items, trying to follow in the footsteps of the Gwen items, the Riftmaker and the Leandries, 2 heavy AP threats in this game. Total gold, though, will go towards the 80 carries in this game. Guma, Showmaker, aiming as well.
Zeus now, third item done. Same for Faker. The big thing with this T1 composition is that there is such an insane amount of damage output that anyone stepping a little bit too far forward, we saw there with King, and just ends up getting blown up in a very short amount of time. Does have the Ghost back up. Should be able to get Remnants relatively quickly, and that's kind of the tragedy for him, is that he's playing into double Leandries, double Riftmaker, and Gwen with her true damage, and he still needs to itemize because he's also playing as well as MF. The big thing though for T1, or for DK rather, and we've seen this a bunch of times already, is that I do think that if they're the one pulling the trigger, if they get 2 out of the 4, they can blow them up in seconds. And thus far, they've been a lot more proactive, VODS, and I'm just hoping that that continues, even with the fact that the Baron didn't really lead to much. I would love to see game number 5 here, to see who makes it to Worlds as our 3rd seed. Looks like DK, they are actually... Oh my god. So previously they didn't. To put them in a false sense of security. They don't have the damage.
They see everything.
Yeah, they know. They also didn't have aiming there, so that's a lot of the damage not there, but they get the TP.
It was really hyped there for like a split second.
I just want them to start it.
Yeah.
And that's all. And they're doing that. And they're getting the cooldown. And then now you can continue to...
And you have Maokai with Warmogs.
Yeah.
So you can do this infinitely if you'd like.
You can.
But, yeah. They've got to clean out the waves, and I think T1, you know, beginning to see what DK are trying to do. They're trying to pressure some of the lanes here, especially mid and top. And now it's them that are trying to get control of this area around the Baron.
Want to highlight as well some of the itemization here. Obviously, we already have Oner with a... Ooh. A lot of vision being found there. We have Oner with a stopwatch, and then we also have Showmaker already picking up the QSS. So both of these players trying to avoid the exact scenario we were talking about earlier. As are they?
There's vision, by the way.
Oh, they're doing it. They're trying to get the TP out of Faker.
Yeah. So we'll see if
T1 calls the bluff. This is 100% a flip. Oner doesn't have flash just yet, though.
Ooh.
It's close, but I don't know if it's going to be in time. Lucid still has his ult. I don't think he can get into the pits.
Do they know the timing of this? It would be actually perfect right before Oner's flash, and they get the Baron. And they just get away with it. They're going to take it down. We got an Infernal Drake in 30 seconds. But now DK with Baron buff might be able to use this pressure to fight for it.
And Soul Point is still there, going all the way back to when Showmaker just kind of got that. So T1, they don't really have an opportunity to say, hey, we're going to let this fight go. You cannot give over that objective. As Banshees here for aiming. Just trying desperately to stay alive. We saw how much damage output he had in the last fight. Moham, I imagine, looking for an engage. This could be what brings us to Silver Scrapes, or it could be the end of DK in this series, VODS.
It's all in this moment. Let's see what happens. DK, they're trying to push forward with the Baron in mid. They take out the inner. But T1 know where the real prize is, and it's on that Infernal Drake, so...
Aiming doesn't have TP, crucially. Can get Prio really easily as he zigs, but should be making his way over after that. I wouldn't mind, send Showmaker mid, because you can still give this up if you are DK, if you can trade it for enough of an objective.
Trying to find the angle for the Maokai ult. It might just end up being a flip as well. This is going down so incredibly fast. T1, they get zoned away, and it just goes the way of DK again. Infernal Soul for D plus Kia. And now they're looking to find Keria, who is going to get flashed on. Doesn't have the flash of his own. Throws an ult into Showmaker, but the reset's already there. The hook comes in, and he's dead. Guma, he's over here by himself. Couldn't get away. And he should be going down here shortly as Kingen pulls him out of the bomb. But more importantly, the Infernal Soul and the Baron buff still up here for DK. They will look to push.
And the Rebel Baron power play this time feels a lot better, VODS. As DK looking to bring us to a 5th game
Oner
to see who is going to be the final LCK seed.
well,
Oner did pull the wave. This is fairly low here.
It's a pretty small wave. There is a tree in the sapling, to deny his back as the flash on a Faker, but he just flashes away, and Lucid doesn't really do much at all. Just trying to frontline here, but eventually Keria does go down. And the wave The one cannon!
Look at him!
The one cannon!
He's shooting!
Oh, but he can't quite get close enough and eventually just get cleared out. Zeus here on the run. And now it's a big Gwen throwing in the lives, and that's going to be the kill. The shutdown onto Ziggs. And they hold on in this game number 4.
T1 not done just yet. Yes, Infernal Soul is there, but that alone not going to be enough. Oh, crucially, though, there is no objective on the map. No Baron, no Elder. As we take another look, it's the Maokai setup. Like Oner, I think, was looking for a flash over the wall, but they don't actually have the vision to make that play work. And now T1 looking for a punch back.
We're going in. Moham catches too, but I don't know who's catching who at this point in time. Oner goes in, but just trying to zone, I guess, for the team as the MF ult's going to hit that front line and do insane damage, and now Kingan's in trouble as well. The ult will come through. He doesn't have a cancel, and Kingan will go down.
They got Zeus and Oner, but if that engage backfires, they can just lose the game. They don't. Ziggs' aiming is up as well. There's no Baron buff. But DK is definitely looking aggressive here, as so he attempts to go for this big play, but it's Gwen. So Showmaker basically needs to be in melee range. Then Oner goes in with the flash and the sleep. And then again, Showmaker just on the edge. There's just enough damage available. Bot lane is still up, but definitely feels like now DK is going completely to the other side, where we take every engage.
Yep.
And you know what?
Why?
It's better. I take it. I imagine Zephyr when these guys. I don't care if we have another series, but if you guys don't do anything again, I'll be very sad and disappointed.
Yeah.
And we don't want Zephyr to be disappointed.
And, you said, you know what? This is better. That's true. Also, you know why? Moham is playing Rel. It's comfort. He engages. He finds a lot of engages. He's also being a little troll here.
Yeah, that said, Valdez, I feel like DK should have been able to win the game. But the inhibitor is bot lane inhibitor, so a bit annoying, but both Zeus and Faker do have TP. This is not one yet. Like, T1 can still just close this out with a free one if DK overstep. Infernal Soul, as good as it is, does require you to, again, keep Showmaker and aiming alive, because they're the ones that are going to get the most value out of it. I don't know how much AP aiming is sitting on, but I imagine it's going to be an absolutely disgusting amount.
Huge number, and he really needs magic penetration as well. I mean, at this point in the game, he's got Sork boots, but, tanky members are getting tankier, and he has a lot of AP, but...
You'd be basically doing true damage, right? Because there's not that much MR being bought, but it's just so... He just finishes Seraphs.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't love that. That definitely should have just sold that, and...
I mean, there's not a lot of tanks on the side of T1,
no, but
at least.
Again, even with just base MR, once we're getting to later levels, you will actually just do, I don't know how much his ult is, Oxwood at this point.
I feel like the math would work out in that direction, yes.
It always does. I feel like...
Maybe he decided he needs that shield instead of more damage.
Die. Well, to be fair, if he doesn't die, it probably doesn't matter which items he has as long as they give him AP. What I was saying, though, is that there is definitely one fight for T1. They are aware this is happening, but they should get that.
Oh my. Well.
Wait, Zeus. He will get spotted here.
Yep, Zeus going to be spotted. And they get the catch, but aiming, he's got Banshees, and Zeus, he's gotten so low. He is going 1v2. Meanwhile, Devil goes not even look at the damage that is being done to the guys on T1. Faker, Guba, Keria on the run. Keria goes in, but they're still here. They don't quite have the damage, and he's not a front lane anymore. Faker goes down. It's only Guma who is very desperate. He's going to get flashed on and eventually taken out by Showmaker as the GA is buying some time, and the timing is there. Aiming gets it down, and it's looking good for a game number 5.
DK have not been able to stand up to T1 in a very long time, Valdez. They're going to go to red side. I think T1 still should be favored, given how these games have played out. But man, the regional gauntlet kicking off with
I don't know if I would call it good, but damn if it's not entertaining, Valdez.
Exactly. It's a lot of fun. Keria alone, of course, not able to stop it, and we will have silver screens in the